Get ready with me using products from my stash. Today's video, I am going to share with you Get Ready With Me. This is the normal Get Ready With Me routine that I would do if I was getting my face together. I don't use all the same products, but I do use the same routine every time. So if you like this look and you're interested in beauty, skincare, press-on nails, and everything in between, maybe some mom stuff, and cats. Look, I got cats. Consider subscribing. It's fun over here, I promise. And if you like this video, give it a like and maybe share it with some friends. Other than that, I hope that you enjoy, and I hope that maybe there's some things that you see that you have questions on, and you can leave those in the comments. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I will see you at the end. Bye. Hey guys, hey. I keep flashing these nails because I love these nails. They ate, sorry. Anyway, let's get started. I'm gonna first pull my hair back because I don't want to get a bunch of makeup in my hair. I do have things to do after this, so I am doing this makeup to get ready for the day. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is put on a little sunscreen. I like this Biore UV broad spectrum sunscreen. It's really good because it doesn't leave a cast. And then I'm gonna go in with this Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin. It's like a primer serum. It's in the shade Main Squeeze. And I like to just put that all over too. It gives you kind of like a little bit of a glow and just moisturizes. So for primer, I'm going to use this e.l.f. Luminous Putty Primer. I really like to put it into my skin, along with this Danessa Myricks Universal shade of the Balm Primer that she has. It's really good. I really like this stuff. Those are two holy grails. And then I'm just going to use this lip balm that I got out of an Ipsy bag. So now that the face is completely primed, we're ready to go in with some color correcting. I'm going to use this Makeup Forever foundation palette. I'm actually just going to use the highlighter first. I like to put the highlighter on my cheekbones. You can see that I really like this highlighter. I don't know the shade. It doesn't show that on the package. So I just rub it into my cheeks and a little bit on my brow bones as well, just to give a little bit of a highlight before I start putting makeup down. So maybe I can have a little bit of a glowy look under the makeup. So next I'm going to use this Real Techniques brush. It's like a concealer brush, and I'm going to go into the orange color corrector here, and I'm going to use that under my mouth and around my mouth and a little bit around my nose. I really like to just push the product in to my skin. I find that when I do that, it comes across as a more natural finish. So that's what I'm doing here, is just kind of pushing it in before I blend it, and then just blending around the edges. I really do like this color corrector, but it's a little dark for under my eyes, so I'm going to use this LA Girl color corrector in the peach shade, and then also this concealer brush. I think that's a Morphe concealer brush. I'm not quite sure, but it's got like that little V shape. And then for me, when I apply makeup, I like to apply the makeup to a makeup palette and then use the palette to, or actually use my brush to load up the product. And you can see here I'm just loading it up, getting it all worked into all the bristles and everything like that. So then once you put it down, you don't seem to need as much product, and it's easier to control and easier to blend. I like to use this method because I don't want to look like I have on a lot of cakey makeup. I just want it to look as natural as possible. I mean, I know I'm wearing makeup, but I do want it to look natural. So I'm just going under my eyes where I have any darkness, and on my eyelids, because I do have a little bit of darkness on my eyelids and I like to cover that up. And I'm just going to blend that as much as possible. That brush is loaded up, so there's a lot of product on there. Duh. I'm just being silly. So anyway, I'm just going to use my fingers because I like to warm up the color corrector here and just really push it down into my skin where it almost is undetectable. So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm just going to take my time and really, really work it in. I'm not really big into foundation. I just find it makes me look a little bit cakey, so I stick to concealer. I'm going to go with these three Sephora Serum Concealers. They're shades 15, 14, and 13. I like to mix those three or any concealer really because I find when I mix shades that the payoff is more of a realistic skin tone than if I just applied one shade. So I'm doing that here on my palette, and I'm just using this brush that I got out of an Ipsy bag. It's a really small foundation brush that I hated at first, but I really, really love it now. I'll get it wet with some of this Avion spray, just a little bit on it, and then I will try to work it into the brush and get the brush packed as much as possible before applying it to my face. Like I said, I really don't like a full coverage look, so I only put the concealer on the insides of my face where I need coverage. The middle of my face is actually a little bit lighter than the outside, so I'm basically just trying to match the two. I concentrate on using more of a swiping and a pushing motion to kind of push the product down into my skin. I like that technique because it comes across more natural. Then I'm just going to use this e.l.f. Flawless Correcting Concealer in the shade 50 Deep N. And I'm just going to use that, do the same thing as add it to this palette. And I'm also going to use a e.l.f., I think that's an e.l.f. concealer brush to just push it in, and I'm going to focus that on just the more of the inside of my face to kind of brighten up from where I just evened out everything. So I don't use any foundation. I'm just using concealer for both of these things. I wasn't completely satisfied with that e.l.f. concealer. I wanted it a little bit more brighter, so I went in with this Urban Decay Stay Naked concealer. I believe it's in the shade like 60 NY or something like that. And I really used that just literally on the middle of my face, and I applied that with a sponge. And then I'm going to set everything with this Too Faced powder. It's the Born This Way in the translucent medium. I really love this powder. It's nice and orange. And I'm going to use this Real Techniques setting powder brush to set everything. I really like to just push it all in and use this initially. I don't bake, but I'm just going to push the powder into my. So I'm only setting the parts that I put the concealer, um, mostly just the middle parts of my face. And I'm going to blend out my eyelids because they crease. So I'm going to just blend it to make sure they don't crease before I put the powder on. To add some more brightness under my eyes, I was going to use this, well, I did use this Morphe powder that's I mixed with a couple other powders. It's a pink powder that I've been trying to make work, but I really don't think I care for it. But I did apply it using one of those triangle puffs. And I just put some in the lid, and I actually just tapped the excess off the back of my hand, and I just kept that towards the middle of my face. It wasn't giving what I wanted it to give. So I went with this Jaclyn Hill palette. Her stuff is good. I wish they still made it. This palette is awesome. I found this at Marshall's. I'm not going to lie. I got a couple of things at Marshall's of hers, and now if I could find anything that's in my shit of hers, I'll get it. So after I do that, I just go in with my Ride or Die, this L'Oreal Infallible matte 16-hour powder and this AOA brush. And I'm going to use this to dust away the powder that I put down, but also to bring together the outside that I didn't put any foundation or concealer or anything on, and the inside. I'm going to use that to kind of just make it all look the same shade, if that makes any sense. So I use that. I love this stuff. I've been using it for a really, really long time, and then it went viral. It was hard to find. Now it's like impossible to find. I've got backups, but this is a holy grail for me. I will always use this stuff. So I just put that everywhere, all over my face, and then whatever's left on the brush, I'll kind of just use to dust off the middle of my face. And then I'm going to go in with this big e.l.f. brush to apply some of the so here I'm using some Micro Smooth by Sephora. This is probably the shade Mahogany, and I'm just going to put this on the outside of my face. It's the darkest shade, so my face is darkest on the outside, so I'm going to apply it there. I also try to make sure I focus putting things on my ears, down my neck, so everything's blended. There's no lines. You can see where the makeup starts and stops. I'm going to use this medium-sized face brush to apply this Game Set Matte Powder by Makeup Revolution, and I'm going to put that mostly in the middle, but I am going to put it all over as well because I like to use that to just blend everything so it all looks cohesive. Just one seamless, beautiful canvas. I'm a complexion girl, so I really love complexion products. I'm going to use this e.l.f. I think this is a blush brush, but I'm going to use it in the Micro Smooth Color Tan. And I'm going to focus that on the inside of my face or the middle of my face. And I really like to use this brush because it's flat and you can just you can see flatly push the powder in. So I just highlight or just kind of bring in brightness to my face now. I really like my skin to look bright, but I don't like a highlight. I don't want people to see highlight on my face. So I love this iridescent loose powder by MAC. I'm going to use a highlighter brush from e.l.f. And this stuff is really old, I'm not gonna lie. I've had it for a long time, but this jar just does not stop giving. So we're gonna keep taking what she's got. I just put a little bit in the lid like this, and I swish it around in the brush. And then I am going to hit the tops of my cheeks and my cheekbones and all of those places. And I always do this before my bronzer because I want it to give me a glowy, glowy look without a highlighted look. So we just really, really push that in, and then I apply a little more. And I always pat off any excess on the back of my hand. That's no matter what product I'm using. It's just a habit I've grown to over the time just depend on, because that way you don't have to worry about putting too much product on your face at once, and then you have that patch of product. This is an Ulta professional brush that I'm not kidding, I got like 20 years ago. That has no product in it. I use this brush to blend. So I'm just going to take this brush and blend everything into my face, make sure it all looks good. And then I'm going to go in with this Hourglass palette, I guess for the contour. This contour, we have a love-hate relationship. This brush is from the dollar store. It's legit. I don't know what the name of it or anything is, but it just works so well in my contour. But this contour, like sometimes I love it and then sometimes I don't. I think what it is I like this contour for really, really subtle makeup, just real everyday makeup. But if I'm trying to like beat my face, I want to see it. So I went in with the Sephora Trio Contour Matte Palette. It was a bad idea. It was way too dark. So of course I go to the darkest shade and I do dust it off on the back of my hand, but look at that, girl. Anyway, so I knew I had messed up. Let's try to diffuse some, put it everywhere, a little on my temples. She was giving, I guess, what I wanted. So I'm gonna just try to blend this in, make it work. I don't care for the color or the deepness of the contour. I don't really contour often. I have a fairly slim face, and I feel like when I contour, sometimes it can make me almost look like a skeleton, especially as I get a little older and I lose, the volume where you used to have some. So anyway, I don't contour a lot, and I usually don't do a really harsh contour. So this one was a little bit harsh. I'm not going to lie. But I'm determined to make this work. I have no choice. We can't turn back now. So I'm just going to also use this to contour my nose a bit. I'm going to use this little Clinique brush. focused on blending that into my eyebrows for the most part, just so it kind of gives a little bit of dimension to the middle of my face. So the next thing is my favorite. It's bronzer, and we're going to use this Fenty Beauty Sunstalker palette. If I wasn't looking at myself, I would have seen that it was upside down. But anyway, this has like several different bronzers in it, so we're going to go with all of them. The brush is really old. I have no idea where I got it from. It's my Ride or Die bronzer brush. I have not found anything that I could ever replace this thing. So don't know where I've got it. I've been into makeup a really, really long time, and I keep a lot of things. So yeah, this one is, she's a Ride or Die. We've been together a long time. I'm just gonna blend that into my temples and around the top of my forehead. Just really giving me a bronze look. I really like to be bronzed, very bronzed. It's my favorite part of makeup. I'm a base girl. I like to have a really flawless base, and I'm not as focused on the eyes because I have hooded eyes anyway. So I really focus on getting a flawless looking base. So because I am a complexion girl, I wasn't happy with this. So I actually went back in with some of my favorite bronzer, which is the NYX Butter Matte Bronzer in the shade Deep. And she gave what she needed to give. And just to melt it all together, I'm going to use these two bronzers as a topper. One is a MAC. It's a really old school bronzer. You can see I've had it for a while. And then the other is actually a Becca highlighter in Geode, Chocolate Geode. So I'm just going to use this other bronzer brush to just barely tap into that Geode and to add just that little bit of sparkle bronzer that's just going to blend everything all together. It just makes everything seamless. You can't tell where one starts and one stops. And then to set it all, I'm going to use this Revolution Hydra Matte Fixing Spray. I like to use setting spray now because I find on my oily skin, if I set at the end, I end up looking like a grease ball before I leave the house. And then next I'm going to do eyebrows. I like to do my eyebrows after I've used the setting spray because I feel like they just apply a lot more seamlessly. So I use this e.l.f. Wow Brow to just set them down first. I'm going to brush them through each brow. So to fill in my brows, I'm going to use this old school Benefit brow like pomade and powder that I've been using for a really long time. I'm not going to lie. I apply the pomade with this MAC 265 brush. I'm sorry, y'all. I had to do my brows off camera. I tried to use this mirror, but you just couldn't see anything. So I did my brows off the camera. I don't really clean up my brows, but I will use this AOA Studio little angled brush and some of this MAC cream colored base in the shade Shell right under my brows, just to give it a bit of a pop, just a small highlight. You can see that I've been using this for a really long time. I don't even think they make these anymore. So it's a product that I really love though. And then I'm going to go in with some blush here. This blush is by MAC. I will put the name in the description. I cannot remember it right now. But this is just like a kind of a coppery burnt pepper color. I think it might be called burnt pepper. It's a very different color for me. I like more of a mauve color, so it's got more red to it than I would usually prefer, but I actually really liked this. I think it looks really, really nice and natural. It kind of reminded me of the blush that's in the newer Hourglass palette, the darker one, volume 3 or something like that. It really, really reminded me of that. The finish was really nice, natural, just a really good blush, and it blended really well with the bronzer. So I just put that on top. And then I think I realized that I did like the Hourglass blush, so I applied some of that as well. This is that reddish shade. I think it's called Red or something like that. And I focused that mostly on the outside of my face, but as you can see, it just made everything come together just seamlessly. It was a good choice. I'm a complexion person, so this made me happy, especially because I did not care for the contour as much. But I actually used, I don't think I did use that in the middle. But I like to use a little bit lighter color in towards the middle of my face. So I went in with one of the lighter shades just towards the middle, just to blend everything. And I really liked how it turned out. For my eyes, I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm going to use this Tarte Gilded palette. I've had this palette for a really long time, but I don't really reach for it. I really like the shades in the top row, but I just struggle with the blending. They don't blend the best. And I don't know, I just haven't found a really good look that I've liked from this palette. I definitely want to spend more time playing with it though. So I'm just going in with a shade for my crease. And I ended up actually not really caring for the crease shade here. It just wasn't giving what I wanted. So I did go in with some of my bronzer, that NYX bronzer that I had used originally, just to do a good like transition shade, just to start out on a good note, because there wasn't a good transition shade in that palette. Because I had somewhere to go and I wasn't too impressed, I was just trying to achieve a basic eye look here, just something that I could get out of the house in and not feel like I looked crazy. So I just chose the browns and the deepest browns and put those in my crease. And then I used a little bit of gold on the lid. After I finish my eye look, I'm going to go in with eyeliner. I'm going to start with this MAC fluid liner. It's like a creamy eyeliner that you use a brush to apply it with. So I'm going to also use this MAC little small brush. It's like just a pointed eyeliner brush. You just load it up. I like to twist the brush into the product so it kind of comes out as a point. And I just go in and I start at the corner, the inner corner of my eye, and I work my way towards the outside. It was really hard to do this on camera, so I did it off camera. I prefer a thick line to a thinner line. That's just how I roll. I've been doing this since the 90s, and in the 90s we did a thick line. I cannot get behind the little small wing, but this is how it looks from the sides, how it came out. And then I'm going to go in with this Tarte Awake pencil. I can't remember the name, but I like to put this in my waterline. To be honest, this isn't my favorite cream color pencil. I usually use a Benefit one. It's more of a cream shade and it's not as white. But to help with that, I'm going to take this little puff and just rub it against the outsides to take away any of the white that's gotten on the outside of my eye. It's hard to explain, but it helps to blend it in better, as you can see. Next, I'm going to take a flat brush. This one is by e.l.f. It's like shadow brush, and that's the Double Take Awake by Tarte. But I'm going to apply the bronzer to my lower lash line, like literally on the lower lash line. I don't want a line. I just want to blend the white and my lashes. And then I'm going to do the same thing, but with the smaller brush, the same version of that brush, but just a smaller version, and I'm going to darker shade to the outside part of my eye. So I'm going to take some more of this Sephora Micro Smooth Powder, and this is in the bronze shade, and I'm really just going to pat it into the middle of my face just to make sure that everything is set, pushed in, and kind of as a finisher. So for mascara, I'm going to start with this, it's the Revlon Double Extend mascara. It's a primer on one side and then a mascara on the other. I don't wear false lashes. I'm not really into lashes. I don't like how they look on my lashes. I'm not able to put them on well enough where I feel like they look good. I'm a mascara girl, so I will just go in with the mascara and I'll use a fan brush to apply mascara to the bottom lash as well. Here I'm going to go in with some lip liner. Moving on to lips. This is Brick by MAC. It's a nice red shade. And I'm just going to completely line my lips with that. And then I'm also going to go in with this MAC lipstick in the color Devoted to Chili. These colors are almost the exact same as the blush. And then I went on top of that with Another MAC lipstick. This one is in the shade Cinnamon. Lipstick is usually my final step, so here I'm just taking the clips out and I'm going to fix my hair. Like I said, I have somewhere to go. So here's the final look. What do you think? I think it came out pretty well despite not caring for the contour as much. But ultimately, I like it. I am usually the type of person to gravitate towards a pink lipstick, but this red one is doing the trick. Thank you for getting ready with me today using makeup that I already own. If you like this look or videos like this, please consider subscribing. Have a great day. See you, love you, bye.